Ebusuafo ne ahwefo e mo bi akobade ba Unidek TV so send the dey kan obodi answer betumi emi subscribe button no so no subscribe na for like na wetumi a share no we comment was ne betumi.
You know, it's your boy Captain to the planet. I'm here to talk to you about Unidek TV. Please subscribe to Unidek TV. Subscribe.
The people of Abdulmanov do not have representation. Same thing happened with SAL. For 4 years, they were denied representation, again through the incompetence of the Electoral Commission. So there's a real problem. But as I say, these do not constitute sufficient basis to seek to remove anybody. More substantive and compelling evidence has to come forward in order for that to happen. Let me put it on record that President Mahama, despite the disagreements that he has expressed in the past about the work of the Electoral Commission, is not minded to remove anybody until and unless due process is followed to the latter, so that we keep fidelity to the Constitution, which binds all of us to act in certain ways.
So for the decisions that have been taken and subsequently announced and being implemented, which of them falls within the 120-day promises of the President?
Oh, I think that the promises were clear. President Mahama spoke about convening a national dialogue on education. There is a committee in place that is planning it. President Mahama spoke about convening a dialogue on the economy. All things being equal, if no intervening factors happen, that should happen before the end of this month, because the committee was given 2 weeks to wrap up its plans and present same to government. I'm aware that the planning is ongoing, and very soon it will be. So all things being equal, like I said, by the end of this month, that should happen. So that has been done. He promised to name his cabinet within 14 days. He has done those. So as I speak to you, all the substantive ministers have been appointed. They've been vetted. They've been sworn in by him. And they've all started. At least yesterday was the first day of work for the last batch of 17, including myself, who were sworn in. The only reason why deputy ministers are not in place yet is that technically you must consult ministers before, the president must consult ministers before appointing deputies. Once the ministers had not been sworn in, they could not be consulted. So that has happened. A list of 13 deputy ministers has been sent to Parliament. We expect that the Appointments Committee will act expeditiously on it, have them vetted, approved, and then sworn in by President Mahama to start work. So that has also been done. So this is a president who is on course to achieving that promise. And in fact, I just told you a while ago that today there is a ministerial team that has been put together to supervise the implementation of all the promises and commitments that were made in the 120-day compact with the people of Ghana.
Who heads the ministerial team?
Oh, I don't think that there's anything like heading. They are all supposed to work together. They will work up to the chief of staff, of course, to ensure that that is done.
Why is that the daughter of the founder of the NDC, Dr. Zenator Rawlings, hasn't been given any ministerial position? Well,
the president has a prerogative to appoint ministers, so he is best placed to give indication as to who is in and who is out. The point must also be made that the work of government is quite big. It goes beyond just ministerial positions. There are key roles to be played in Parliament as well.
But you're also not a deputy minister?
Well, I'm saying that the work of
medical
government,
doctor by profession,
the work of government,
the founder,
the work of government goes beyond ministerial positions. There are only 60 ministerial positions, and there are 1,001 people in the NDC who are qualified to occupy these positions. So naturally, there will be some with stellar credentials who may not have the opportunity now. But it is a 4-year journey, as I've said in the past. And so there's every opportunity at some point for new hands to be brought in and some to be taken out. So who is to say that a few years down the line there will be some changes in government? These people will find.
So who will be removed for Dr. Zenator?
I'm certainly not going to be able to say that. Only the president can decide that. Then when he decides that and he wants me to announce it, I will announce it to the people of Ghana, as I've always done at his behest.
Mr. Isaac Adongo, he spearheaded all the financial and economic dialogue in opposition for the NDC. Indeed, has, it looks like, the support, the buy-in of the establishments, whether it's the financial institutions, the corporate world, the entrepreneurs, etc. No position for him.
Well, I mean, together with others, he played a key role in advancing the NDC's arguments on the economy. He has stellar credentials, has proven himself to be someone who knows the economy and understands the intricacies of managing Ghana's finances. But as I indicated, of course, there's only so much that one can do when the space is limited to just 60 people in government. And so opportunity may arise somewhere along the line for him to be part of government. But even in the current role as MP, there's a lot to be done in Parliament. One can argue, for instance, that the Honorable Mahama is also someone with stellar credentials. He perhaps can be Attorney General. But he's now majority leader because he's also an important position. Sometimes we need some capable and experienced hands in Parliament as well to spearhead the legislative agenda of government. And I'm certain that Honorable Adongo may find space in that regard to contribute his quota to pushing the agenda of President Mahama.
You shall or may?
Oh, I have a strong belief.
Dr. Zenator Rawlings.
For instance, today, if you wanted someone to lead the Finance Committee in Parliament, I can't think of anybody better than Honorable Adongo to do so.
How well are we doing with Galamsey? Indeed,
yesterday, well, it is something that the press was not allowed to cover. But immediately after the oral report presentation, there was a high-powered meeting presided over by the president himself, involving 5 key ministers, the ministers of the Interior, Defense, Lands and Natural Resources, and the Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, and key heads of various government agencies who have anything to do with protecting the environment. The objective was to understand the situation. So a presentation was made on the state of affairs regarding Galamsey, and it was numbing, it was shocking, the extent of damage that has been done. Indeed, we found out that up to about 5 million square kilometers of land has been affected by Galamsey. Out of 288 forest reserves, 43 has been encroached on by Galamseyers. And it is leaving serious repercussions for the safety of the water we drink. If you look at the parameters used to measure the acceptable, quality of water, we've exceeded it by sometimes 1,000-fold. And this poses a grave existential threat to all of us if nothing is done about it. So President Mahama has vowed that a ruthless battle will be waged against Galamsey. In fact, at the second ministerial swearing, we heard him clearly when he declared that anybody who goes into any area and purports to be engaging in Galamsey because he's NDC should immediately be arrested.
He said that?
He absolutely said that. It's in the speech. You can take it and read it. He also said that he was going to ban the issuance of mining leases for entities to enter forest reserves to engage in any form of mining. And then he added that even those that were issued by the previous government will be revoked. So he is very clear that there will be no mining in forest reserves until it is absolutely necessary. But even then, there must be clear evidence of efforts to protect the environment. So this is a president who is committed to tackling Galamsey in ways that have never been done before. So if anybody is out there and thinks that it will be business as usual as far as Galamsey is concerned, they have to revise their notes because government is coming for them.
I see. Yes. So what has he done about the Awin MP who has been fingered or having fingers pointed at him by his traditional authority and the generality of his constituents?
I am certain that if...
He's a key player in Galamsey.
No, I'm certain that if the said MP was an appointee of President Mahama, he would have been dismissed long ago. Because indeed, President Mahama has said that no member of his government is permitted to engage in any form of small-scale mining. Don't even talk about
Galamsey. He's a member of his party.
Parliament is an institution that is independent from the executive. President Mahama cannot remove an MP. So that is clear. Perhaps it's a matter that can be looked into, the state agencies can look into and ascertain its veracity or otherwise. But no member of President Mahama's government can engage in any form of small-scale mining, let alone Galamsey. Unfortunately, under President Akufo-Addo, every Tom, Dick and Harry found his way into Galamsey, and there were no repercussions whatsoever.
Okay, let me just, before, as we try to wrap up, go through some of the social media comments. So I have this one from Joshua Boydi, who says, empower the grassroots, etc. How do you intend empowering the grassroots of the party?
The grassroots of the NDC are first and foremost Ghanaians. So anything that we do that benefits the people of Ghana will naturally benefit them as well. You see, what you cannot do is to come into power and say that the only people you look after are your party people. You cannot do that because the resources of Ghana belongs to everybody, including those who are even non-partisan. So it is the government's duty to ensure the welfare of every Ghanaian. In doing so, members of the NDC, who are an integral part of Ghana, also benefit. So that is the approach that is going to be used. The resources of Ghana belong to everybody. So the benefits thereof that accrues from investing these resources must go to the benefit of all, without exception. Yes.
I see. Have you traveled yet since you came into office?
Oh, yes. In my capacity as spokesperson to the president, I've had to travel with President Mahama to 3 countries. Sometime in the last 2 weeks, there was an important meeting in Tanzania involving the energy transition. And then there was an important meeting of heads of state in Kenya to discuss some reforms in the AU. And then there was a brief stopover in Angola. Being a new president, he needs to announce his presence on the world stage. He needs to rekindle.
Seems to get a lot of goodwill.
Absolutely, because people compare him to his predecessors' policies, and they find that his predecessor showed hostility, as well as to some of our neighbors. President Mahama is a bit more conciliatory in his approach, so that he finds that even where there are difficulties with the kind of governance that exists in any particular country, there's still opportunity to engage in more meaningful ways that are beneficial to both countries, and perhaps seek to influence the way that a transition is made to more democratic governance. So it is a reason why people find him more amiable, more accommodating, and more approachable, and that is why he gets the goodwill that he gets. But I was making the point that as a newly elected leader, he needs to announce himself on the world stage to rekindle Ghana's relations with its neighbors and the broader international community.
I take it that those travels that you had with the president were not personal travels.
They were not personal.
Because I know that the president has
issued,
indeed you have expatiated on some other fora on the decision to decide, to give the directive to all of you that you travel not by first class.
Absolutely. President Mahama is clear that first of all, the travel must be necessary. He is not going to tolerate...
What does it mean?
He's not going to tolerate frivolous travels. That every invitation you receive must be honored. It's not all invitations that must be. Some of them are not essential. There are some that you can even send junior staff of the ministry to represent you. The cost implications will be much lower. But even if you have to travel at all, you must seek clearance first with the chief of staff, who will determine whether or not it is travel that can be classified as essential, that is necessary for the work that you do within the ministry, department, or agency. Once it is also approved, you must do so in modesty, and that there's absolutely no discussion about first class. You are not going to be allowed to travel in first class. It depends on the kind of travel and the kind of aircraft you're using and what have you. But opulent and extravagant displays are not tolerable under President Mahama's government. That is the point that he sought to make.
It means that
he rolled out
if not first class, at least you take the comfort of business class.
Well, business class is acceptable because of, first of all, the kind of person traveling and what have you. That's why I said the travel must be far and few between. What it means is that it's not every travel that you respond to, but if you have to travel, you must seek clearance from the chief of staff. It must be deemed necessary and important to the overall effort to develop this our country. So if there's some travel that must be undertaken by a minister or a CEO, it must be deemed to be necessary before it is done. But if you are doing so, you cannot travel in first class, as some have done in the past. Yes.
Okay. This one is coming from Kafui Do. He says he's curious about claims on your Facebook wall where you position yourself as the authoritative source for President Mahama's appointment. I'm sure in the early days of the appointment, which is akin to Fabrizio Romano's reputation for breaking football transfer news. However, he says that there have been subsequent appointments that you, Mr. Felix Kwachofosu, haven't announced.
Yes, but that's because I have not been asked to announce them. I don't announce appointments on my own. The president has to determine the mode of communication. If he finds that it's something that has to be put out officially, then it is put out. There are some appointments that, mostly CEO appointments are not announced. It is perhaps the very large public organizations where the announcements have some implications for stakeholders, that it goes through official channels. What has happened is that there are some who have received their letters of appointment and have displayed it on social media. It is not an announcement, a formal announcement. It is a valid appointment. You would expect, of course, that they won't take that step, but perhaps out of excitement or something, they share the news with loved ones who then propagate it on social media.
Odum
The ones that I announce are ones that the president has authorized me to do so.
Right.
Yes.
And I've seen some, even as media, publicize and publish. Yes. And then we're told there's reassignments or some even not true at all.
Exactly. What happens is that there are some who engage in speculation. Maybe somebody may call them and say that.
You're saying that.
Yes, let me explain to you. There are some
prospective.
Yes, there are some
appointees.
There are some
who hoodwinking the president.
No, not that. Okay. Not that. That is not.
So what are you saying?
What I'm saying is that there are some that are purely speculative. Someone may call you, Roland, I hear that you are going to be sent to TV3, and then out of excitement they tell friends who then start congratulating them, believing that that is the case. But until you have received formal communication from the president through his secretary appointing you to any particular position, you cannot deem yourself as having been appointed. There are also instances where an appointment can be made, but further information may come to light, which requires then that the appointment is reversed or that you are sent elsewhere. It is entirely not unusual in governance. Let me give you a case. There's a case of a minister, someone who was appointed by President Mills. He was called to the castle because that was the seat of government at the past. He was called to the castle and told that you are going to be nominated for this, so expect the announcement. So he left the castle on his way back home. Before he got to the Accra Sports Stadium, he was called again and told that no, because of this development, we can no longer give you this position.
It has to be Lante van der Poel.
No, it's not Lante van der Poel. It is not. I can assure you that.
So who was that?
I'm unwilling to disclose, but I'm only telling you that these things happen. It is not unusual at all for a quick change of mind based on additional information that comes to light or the need to ensure some balance. As I told you, the things that you need to balance in government are many. So you may find that, well, if we don't do this, we may not meet the threshold for gender inclusion in government, or that we may have to consider some ethnic dimension, or some religious dimension, or some regional dimension. So all those things have to come to play in order to ensure that there is balance in the government, so that every Ghanaian finds himself in the government that is
equity
installed.
And equality.
Absolutely, there must be equity.
This one also is coming from Jerry Joy Quay. He says, why is Osafo Mafo's son still opposed as Senate? Why, Mr. Felix?
Well, the point is that a determination will be made about the suitability of individuals for certain positions. Again, let me stress that this is a government that is barely a month old. It takes a bit of time to install the full government. So in the fullness of time, all positions that will be deemed vacant will be filled. So whilst I understand the need to move swiftly, it's also important to move with tact sometimes so that you don't make mistakes that you cannot reverse. So I entreat all public-spirited individuals, all well-wishers of this government, to give the president some space to compose his government in a manner that delivers on the mandate.
Abusuafoɔ ne ahwɛfoɔ emu bi akɔba de ba Unidek TV so send the day I can already answer to me emi subscribe button so no subscribe na for like na wetumi ahye no wija comment to us ne betumi.
You know, it's your boy Captain to the planet. I'm here to talk to you about Unidek TV. Please subscribe to Unidek TV. Subscribe.